Welcome to part 3 of our series on selling as an act of service. Today, we're going to talk about why selling as an act of service is a benefit to you, the sales leader, or to you, the sales rep. Tie this back to 3 things that we tie back, that we always bring things back to, the 3 pillars of sales, what we as salespeople in pursuit need to be maniacally focused on. Number 1, the 3 pillars of sales. Number 1, protect and grow deal size. That is a function of value, which is what we talked about last week with selling as an act of service. Greater value almost always correlates into greater deal size. Number 2, shortening your sales cycle time, getting it done faster. And number 3, the 3rd pillar that we're going to tie back to today, is increasing your close rate. How do I get more deals done? So how do we figure all this out? So last week, again, the focus was focusing on client-based value, both the known pain, what they knew about, and the unknown pain, the latent pain that we brought to the table because of our point of view, POV, and how much beneficial that was. Now, because of that value alignment, it's why it's so critical that we take the time to tease that out, the current state to the future state that they're trying to get to, and showing the known and unknown latent value in there that we can bring to the table. Because that has now become front and center, achieving that becomes the focus for the client. They've fallen in love with that value. They've emotionally and pragmatically, from a business standpoint, begun to experience what that value would deliver. Therefore, that becomes their goal. The deal then becomes bigger because they have personalized it and they've mentally embraced it. Therefore, they're willing to do more to get it. And it has more intrinsic value. They personalized it. It's emotionally bought into. Therefore, they're going to be willing to invest more to get it completely done, to get it correctly done. So you don't have to skip on services. You can protect your pricing a little bit more. So pillar number 1, protect and grow deal size, greatly enhanced because the value has been personalized. It's been expanded with your POV. And therefore, that becomes the focus. It moves away from pricing. And therefore, you're going to be able to get more money because they're going to want it completely realized, correctly realized, etc. So that's number 1. Number 2 is how do we shorten our sales cycle time? Same thing, because of that focus on selling as an act of service and fine tuning that value realization for them. Again, I'm going to say it over and over and over, the known value, what they knew they were trying to get done, and then the unknown latent value that you were able to expose with your POV because of your experience, that becomes something that they want. And they begin to realize that every day that I'm not harvesting that value is yet another day that I'm not harvesting that value, and I'm living in my current state, which we talked about already has all that pain. We walked them through the current state, why that's no good, and led them to this glorious future state. They begin to see that. They see that gap, and because that gap is so wide, because of our approach to value, as we talked about last week, they are highly incented to get that done faster. Therefore, your sales cycle time is likely to shorten. The big benefit, I want you to really dial in on this, the big benefit that you're going to see as you look at all those steps that have to happen to get a deal done with your client, which oftentimes seem very sequential. When you have a senior leader, an economic buyer, a ranking champion that is representing your cause, they are trying to get this done faster. Some things are going to move from sequential to parallel, like begin a legal review before purchasing has even seen the proposal. Starting to get some of those things in parallel, that's going to rip out huge chunks of execution time. So that's number 2, shortening your sales cycle time. Number 3, increasing your close rate. Because of that value that you have built, both based on what was known and what was unknown, latent, that you exposed. Yes, I'm beating that point because it's critical, especially your POV, the latent value that you can expose to them. They'll be very grateful for that because it's been personalized to them, and they understand what the complete value looks like in this process that we're going through with them. Because that is built on your unique differentiation or your comparative differentiation to get that complete and precise value that you built. Naturally, the playing field is going to be less for options that they can look at to pursue. Whether it's do nothing, well, that's not going to work because they'll be stuck with their current state. or do something in-house, not likely to be realized as well either, because they're not aware, they weren't even aware of the unknown or latent value that you've exposed, or do something with a direct competitor. Again, your value, trusted advisor, selling as an active service, coming to them and exposing some of that unknown value, that's going to limit the playing field of people that you're going to get. Less competitors, more deals you're going to win. So just kind of let's retrace this a little bit. Number one, protect and grow deal size. That value has been personalized, and it's been increased because of your POV that you brought to the table. They're experiencing that. They want that. They want it completely because it's clearly all about them, because selling as an active service is focused maniacally on them. So they want the complete version of that. That means there's going to be more investment in services. There's going to be less pricing pressure. Protect and grow deal size. Number two, shorten your sales cycle time. Absolutely. Because they now realize every day that I'm stuck down here in my current state and I'm not up here in my beautiful future state, that's another day we're not harvesting that value. Why would I want to stay there? Key on this one, the economic buyer priorities. You've got to make sure that this is a priority for the economic buyer, because they're going to control the release of funds and the project sequence. So make sure that aligns with them. And then number three is increasing your close rate. Because we built this out with our POV and it's built around our unique or comparative differentiation, they're just simply do nothing's no longer an option, because that would stay in the current state. Direct competitor, do it in-house. Those are likely to come to the table, especially do it in-house, because they weren't even aware of the unknown pain that you exposed. Therefore, an in-house solution is not going to work for them. So that customized value is going to move the deal much, much faster. That's based on selling as an active service. Then your generic value statements, aligning it to them, is going to pay off threefold across the three pillars of sales. So that's exciting. So far they benefit, and so far you've benefited. Next week, we're going to talk about the concept of long-term value realization, which if you're in a SaaS environment or in a professional services environment, really is going to improve the lifetime value of the client, your LTV, and your ARR, and your NRR if there's cross-sell and upsell opportunities. So there's going to be massive win again next week. See you then.